So Ripple tried to buy Circle, the issuer of USDC, and got rejected. Now, I want to talk about this because the valuation they gave Circle was pretty good, and I think it's pretty close to what Circle is looking for, but it looks like Circle's looking for more, or they just don't want to get bought out, and they want to go ahead with the IPO. Now, this tells me a few things about Ripple. One, they realize that stablecoins are the future of commerce and remittances and transactions. So I think they've realized by now that no one is actually going to use XRP in cross-border transfers. It's going to be things like USDC. It's going to be things like maybe RLUSD and USDT. It really doesn't help that MasterCard essentially said they were making a global payment network that was based on USDC and Paxos. So that probably boosted up Circle's worth as well. And since Ripple has recognized that it's not going to be XRP that's going to be the bridge currency, they're actually just going to use like a stablecoin like USDC or RLUSD. I also think they've realized that if they just stick with RLUSD, they're not really going to be competitive for a very long time with the big boys. So they need to acquire something faster. Now, RLUSD supply has been growing and the volume has been growing as well, but it's still very, very far away from Tether or USDC. Plus, you also have the issue that about 90-95% of the volume is at Bullish, which is like just one exchange that I don't think any of us actually uses. I think it's more of an institutional exchange. So Ripple has recognized that problem. They need to acquire a big stablecoin issuer. And of course, Tether's not really available for acquiring because Tether's probably worth too much at this point. And also Bitfinex is not going to sell. So USDC becomes their next target. So they actually made an offer soon after Circle filed for IPO. And they actually wanted to purchase Circle for somewhere between $4 billion and $5 billion. But they were actually rejected. Now, the weird thing is Circle's IPO is targeting $4 to $5 billion for its upcoming IPO. However, they were worth $9 billion via SPAC in 2022. So their valuation has actually fallen. Circle's revenue was like $1.67 billion in 2024, which is up 16%. And if you actually look at valuations, whether so Ripple basically offered about 3 times their revenue, which depending on the industry could actually be a fair valuation. So basically, some industries like tech and SaaS may see multiples as high as 4 to 6x revenue due to strong growth prospects. Other industries like retail or service businesses may have multiples closer to 1 to 2. So obviously, crypto goes in the high growth industry, and crypto actually might be higher than 6x because it's an extremely high growth industry. And obviously, you have one of the 2 dominant products in stablecoins, which is a sector that's just booming right now. So it might go like, it might go like 10x or possibly even more. We've seen companies go for more than that. If it's 10x, then you'd have to give $15-16 billion to actually buy Circle. I think Circle realistically is at least looking to recapture the $9 billion, if not more. Now for Ripple's valuation, because they're pre-IPO as well, they were evaluated at essentially $11 billion. But I actually do think that's kind of old because XRP has gone up in price a lot after that valuation. You're not going to get the full valuation of their XRP and escrow because they can't sell it all and convert it into cash. That would cause XRP to actually go down and they wouldn't get nearly as much out of it. So they're making some kind of valuation like in between. They might be valued at $15-20 billion now, whereas Circle might actually be over $10 billion. So I don't know if they can actually buy Circle. I doubt Circle would actually accept XRP as payment. They probably want cash or stock options. And I don't really know if Ripple can actually do that. So at this point, I think some people are saying it was a stunt. I think it was kind of a stunt, but I think they were also hoping to buy Circle at this particular valuation because it's something that like $4 to $5 billion is something that Ripple can actually afford to actually buy. Now they just bought like the other company for 1-something billion. So this is a significantly bigger buy. But remember, USDC is the second biggest stablecoin in the business. And more than just being the second biggest stablecoin in the business, it also has a supply of like $60 billion. Now, buying Circle wouldn't make you own all the USDC. That's like people's locked money. But it would actually give you some control over the asset, probably bring it onto XRPL, and maybe increase the liquidity for the XRP ledger or something like that, and make Ripple a bigger player in the stablecoin game than they are right now. Plus, USDC is on like a whole lot of exchanges, and it has a whole lot of liquidity. But they were rejected. But I actually do think it was an honest attempt. They might make another bid, but I think it's going to be pretty hard for Ripple to bring out more than $4 to $5 billion at a time. Remember, companies' funds are not liquid all the time. But if they were actually to buy USDC, it would definitely like vault their company in terms of net worth. I don't know if it would actually vault XRP in terms of net worth, because like just because they buy it doesn't mean like, you know, all the USDC is going into XRPL. And if you really look at their RLUSD, where like 75% of RLUSD is actually minted on Ethereum and not XRPL, I don't think that would actually happen, but it would be massive for the company as a whole. And XRP would probably ride on it. But right now, it does not seem like their purchase is successful. And I think if they don't double the price, I don't think they have too much hope in purchasing Circle. But I don't know. If they scrunch everything up together, they might be actually able to buy it. And then we could actually see some interesting action in XRP price. But Circle's IPO is looming soon. Maybe they'll want to buy like majority share with the stocks. I'm not really sure, though. So I think it's actually a significant event. They're trying to make big moves, and I still think like they see that like, you know, XRP isn't going to be used for cross-border transactions. They realize that RLUSD isn't going to be able to compete with the big boys for quite a while, so they want USDC to solve that problem right away. And I think it was a pot shot, and they probably knew it was going to get rejected, but still, it shows like a little bit on what they're actually thinking. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.